Okay, getting remote job. First of all, a legit job does not require you to pay anything. The only thing you need to bring is your skill. Is like, what are your expertise? What do you have? Like, what skills do you have? So when somebody tells you, like, okay, now you passed the first interview, and then you're supposed now to pay us like 20K or whichever amount or 10K, that is a scam. Any remote job, whether it is freelance or it's a contract based on what, there's a contract that you're supposed to sign. So if somebody tells, give me your bank details, or give me your M-Pesa number, or give me whatever, without signing any contract, there's a contract. Also do your due diligence.
Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Careers with Nelly. I am your host, Nelly Akungu. And in this conversation today, we still continue with a series of remote work. Guys, in the previous video, I had come on here with a panelist who shared with us their experience working remotely. I have another remote worker in the studio because we have to debunk these myths around remote work and give you as much valuable information as possible. So she's here also to share our experience as a remote worker, and we're going to try not to repeat what we had learned previously. But of course, if they have the same experience, why not? So I'm going to allow her to introduce herself, then we get into the session. Hello, hi.
Hi.
Karibu sana. Look at the camera and introduce yourself.
Thank you for having me, first of all. My name is Winnie, and I'm a remote worker. That's what I've done like all my entire life. Maybe Nelly might have an insight that started when you are still in campus, and I'm still doing it up now. It's just that now I'm doing it as a mom and as a wife, but those days I was just a freelancer.
Hey, and guys, for some reasons, all our remote workers who featured in this series have been working remotely since campus life. So even if you're in campus, you need to now start thinking of how do you put your eyes outside there, because now we are being told that jobs are actually available even for people in campus. So to get deeper into the session, we want to understand the reality of remote work. And I know we discussed that with the previous panelist, just telling us, we see remote work to be for a certain class of people in the society. Glamorous life, part of it. People working by the poolside, sipping coffee, in very nice designer clothes. So is that what remote work looks like? Talk to us about the reality of remote work.
First of all, let us understand what is remote work. People think that remote work is it's so big, it's so diverse. So whether you want to do it by the poolside, or you want to do it at the coffee shop, or you want to do it inside your bedroom, inside your bed, it entirely depends on what exactly you're doing. Because some remote works requires you to sit in the boardrooms, just like in any normal, on-site job. Like you have today we have board meetings and all that. Even remote jobs, we have that. So I don't think if you can meet, you are supposed to make serious, boardroom decisions. Beside the pool. You get what I'm saying? So it depends. So remote work is so diverse. There are people who are employed, just like you are employed PNP here in Kenya, and you are working from 8 to 9 to 5. I don't know how you people are working, but whatever it is. And then there are people who are freelancers. There are people who are just doing projects. There are people who are just having like contract-based job. So remote job is so diverse, and what it looks for me might not be another person's reality. But that's what I can say. As I said earlier, it depends on what you're doing. So assuming you are doing a project-based remote work, this is something that you organize your time. It's just you delivering upon the set deadline. Probably it's a project that is supposed to take for like 3 months, and then after that project is over, you move on to the next company, or with the same company but another project. That means if the project is over, you are likely not to have a job until they call you back, or you move on to another company. There are people who are doing freelance job. Of course, you are employed, maybe you're working per hour, like they're paying you, maybe you're working part-time, depending on what you're doing. It could be customer service, it could be a salesperson, or a travel agency, or virtual assistant, whatever it is. Those are freelancers. And then there are people who are employed by company, maybe Amazon or whatever company that you're working with. So you might be an operations manager, you might be whatever position. So you are employed by this company. You have your benefits just like any other person. You have your leave days. Maybe you take your paternity leave. So you are employed by this person. It's not like they meet you on camera. They just know you by your profile pic and all that. Sometimes you even meet, you travel because the company pays for that. Probably you have maybe AGM or some strategic
the company
meeting.
events that bring you together.
Yes, so the company brings you to, like my company last month people were in Istanbul, Turkey. So the company pays for you and you go there, just like maybe you're working with Safaricom or another company in Kenya, and then you are going for some maybe for development or personal growth or whatever it is. So the company sponsors for that. So remote job that is how diverse it is. And remember back in the days, even doing online writing or academic writing or whatever, that is still remote job. And that one you can do wherever you are, so long as you can concentrate amidst the chaos. Like maybe you are in a pub or can you concentrate and do the
as long as you can deliver.
Exactly. So that is the reality. It depends on what you are doing remotely. Yeah.
So ideally, Winnie, what we see online is just a small part of it. And I think that is where the chaos start from.
Yes.
Because almost everyone who wants to go to work remotely perceives it like that. Really, that's the perception we have. We are talking about freedom. We think, because we've been made to think that the freedom of working remotely is working by the poolside, working as you sip your glass of wine, working in bikinis, looking so moneyed, you know. So yeah, so I like the fact that you really changing how we look at it.
And that's the lie.
Yeah, changing how we look at it. You know, it can be as structured as my 8 to 5. It can also look as serious as maybe my chaotic 8 to 5.
Yes.
So as we get into it, we want you to paint for us your typical day.
Yeah, just before that, there's something you said that people are running and they're looking at this nice
the soft life, you know,
and also there's a fallacy about freedom, and they think that when you're working on site or working from 9 to 5, there's no freedom in it. So assuming you're working as an operations manager or you are head of department, okay, it's a remote job, so you have people whom you are answerable to. There are scenarios where a decision has to be made. Remember, we don't have a physical office that somebody can come and knock. You get what I'm saying? So you have to be there. If you're working from 9 EAT, like East African time, up to maybe 4, 5, or 6 in the evening, you have to be there somehow, because there are decisions that has to be made. Somebody is holding a client and they need your okay so that they can proceed with the purchase or whatever it is. You get what I'm saying? So there is no freedom. It's a work like any other work, especially when you are employed like just any other regular person. So there's not something like I can choose to work today and tomorrow if I go to party and
but that's what you're being told. You can choose to work when you want.
And we like to people, and people are like, oh, I want to come to online because that's freedom. I will talk about where freedom is just a few things, but it is a job just like any other job. And there's one thing that I want to say, because I've been in this since 2021. There's nothing that will make you rise or grow or be recognized or people take you seriously based on where we come from. Also, that is another fact that we might talk about. As much as you respect your time and your discipline, and your ability for people to depend on you.
Yeah, like,
dependability. Can you show up? Remember, as I said, that this is not an office where we knock in and come and walk in. So people, I'm in Nairobi, my boss is in Belgrade, and another boss is in Moscow, another one is in New York. They are relying on me to wake up in the morning and show up and do my job. You get what I'm saying? So if I'm not going to wake up and do my job, I have to say it a bit earlier, and if it's an emergency, I have to tell them, I am having an emergency, my cell is sick, I can't do it because of ABCD, and I have to tell somebody else, would you stand in for me in case such request or ABCD happens, please stand in for me, I'm not available today. So it is a lie that you can just wake up one day and decide, oh, I don't want to work, or I'm feeling bad, or I want to binge the whole entire series, and I'll just be there by the side. So it depends on entirely what you're doing, but it's not as easy as people think.
It's not as glamorous as we see.
It's not as glamorous as you think. I think also there's another point of money, aspect of money about it.
We'll get into that.
Yes, but right now what I can say is that you need to be disciplined. You need to show up. You need to show that you can be trusted with the responsibilities. Because you know, when even here in Kenya, when an employee keeps on saying, today I'm having this, tomorrow my mom is dead, tomorrow my dog is dead, my grandmother collapsed. I mean,
my grandmother swallowed an egg.
We will not say that you are lying, but when there's a real opportunity for growth or consideration for promotion, because nowadays I'm in such I sit in such panels where we decide who can, maybe from junior, like who can we give promotion, promotion or even higher responsibility. And we said that she's good, but she's not reliable.
Yeah.
She's good, but she has a lot of off days. So you get what I'm trying to say. You need to be disciplined, and you need to show up into your work.
Wow. So paint for us how your typical day looks like.
Depends, like what
we are told remote workers start working at 6 p.m. when us we are coming from work. Tell us.
That could be another reality, depending on which market are you working for.
Yeah. Talk to us about the different markets and the schedules.
If you're working for UK market, for example, mostly you start working from around 5 p.m. Kenyan time, 6-ish, and then you'll do up to maybe midnight or 1 a.m. Nairobi time or East African time. If you're working for European time, our time difference is, I think, maybe 1 hour or 2, UK 1 hour or 2. So if usually I start working from 9 a.m., but I'm working in 3 different time zones. 2, I think, 3. I'm working with the UK time zone, European time zone, and Asian time zone, specifically Jakarta time zone. So when I start at 9 a.m. in Jakarta, that is 1 p.m. In Europe, Belgrade, that is around 8 a.m. And in UK, that is around 7 a.m.
Yeah.
So I'm working in all those 3.
Does it mean you do different jobs? You work with different employers?
No, it's the same employer, but I'm working with different markets for the same employer.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow. So tell us how you've always felt. Has it always disturbed you that you're not living a normal life?
Yes.
And what we call normal, my friend, and I'll come to the point of how seriously are you taken, are remote workers taken? How do you convince your elders that you're working in the house and you're not going to work? Auvai suti. Uendi kazi ya serikali, wewe unafanya kazi remotely. Tell us, how has it been for you? How have you felt? Have you felt like an outcast?
I wouldn't say like an outcast, but what I can say is that, I'm a trained engineer, and where we come from, there's a lot of expectations. Yeah. So when I started doing this, when I started doing writing, we're doing it to get along the university. At least we can be able to get some lunch and, get along. And now when I got the opportunity to work for this company, I didn't look at it then as something I could do long term. So I was doing it. Exactly. So nilikuwa naifanya nikishikilia. And along the line, I started working remotely, professionally as in 2021. And I was doing something that is not engineering related. And so at the back of my mind, I was like, let me just do this for the meantime as I look for that internship and I look at that. And then it reached a point that now I was like, okay, I'm not going to start working as an intern because because already you are into bills. I had a baby, I'm having a husband, I'm having a household, there are bills to be paid. And I was looking at like, if I go back to work as an intern, then I'll be paid, internship, but then government was giving
may even be free
25K per month. And so, okay, fine. Now internship is not an option. So I'm going to work as entry level kind of. And also that one at some point was like, okay, so I got conflicted. I felt like I'm having a career that is lying. And here I am paying bills. Of course, I'm getting some money and they are paying bills. But what is becoming of my career? Am I wasting my time? And also you don't grow any younger and kids come along. So I'm like, now, what will become of my career? Did I waste my time? Did I waste my parents' time? So at some point, I was so conflicted that I even told, I was considering leaving my remote job so that I can come and start working on my career.
Look for a job now.
Look for a real job. And also I could talk to my mom and my relatives. When are you looking for a job? And for so long, my mom would say that I'm not employed.
You are hustling.
Not even hustling.
Unapiga kibarua.
And then she could tell me, are you even applying? So we could talk and then, do you even send applications? Do you even apply for jobs? And I couldn't tell her like the reality that, Mom, you know what? If today I'm going to start working, I mean, the money they're going to pay me is not really going to match. But leave alone the money and the people asking me, Winnie, what are you doing with your life? Even me deep down at some point, I felt conflicted because remember, remote job is something that is so recent. And even when I started doing it, I didn't see this current picture that it would be something that everybody is chasing.
Yeah.
So I was just doing like for the meantime, as I'm looking for a job. And deep down, I was so much conflicted that I have this career here, I have these papers here that is really lying down, and time is going. And my peers are somehow advancing. Some of them are now registering as PE, professional engineers. So I was like, what am I really doing with my life? You get what I'm saying? And even for so long, I even found it difficult to describe to people what I'm doing.
What you do.
Because, even job
what do I do?
What do I do? Yeah, so, but now I'm really much okay.
So you have gotten to the point you've settled and made up your mind that that's what you want to do.
Exactly. And now I don't regret. I know engineering is a career that I can do even when I can start in my 50s. And away from that, leave alone the career, I'm now at a point where I want to explore where I am, because I'm doing something totally unrelated to engineering, and I see that I'm growing career-wise. I'm not where I started from, So it seems like I'm growing and I'm forging a different path from what I thought I would do. And right now, if I'm to take a course or I'm doing some personal building, I would do something just to build on what I currently have to put me at a better place. So maybe if I
grow in that line.
Exactly. If I'm to move to another company, will just help me get a better offer, or rather secure something more meaningful. But I don't regret having not, pursued the other path where I thought I could take.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So we're moving on, and it's quite interesting, and I really love how your journey is turning out. Yeah, of course, for today, we just wanted to concentrate on that conversation of you sharing your experience, but it's a key thing that we can always discuss in the future. How sometimes we think and plan our life, but things turn out differently. I love the flexibility to get yourself in a space that is totally different. But again, with time, you're forging your path and really, really loving it. So in terms of ease of getting this remote work, and one cry that I had from somebody who's looking for remote work is, of course, there's a lot of scam around the remote work space. We are having people taking us through remote work, people having to pay a lot of money. So maybe just tell us, in your own experience, how easy is it to get this job? Where do we get them from? And what is the process? How does the process look like?
Okay, getting remote job, first of all, a legit job does not require you to pay anything. The only thing you need to bring is your skill. Is like, what are your expertise? What do you have? Like, what skills do you have? So when somebody tells you, like, okay, now you passed the final, the first interview, and then you're supposed now to pay us like 20K or whichever amount, or 10K, that is a scam. Now, another question that you asked is like, how easy it is to get this
how easy it is to get, and where do we get them? Where are they?
I mean, I can say it's so easy, but you need to know where to scratch. Like, you really, really need to know where to scratch. Nowadays, when you scroll TikTok, somebody was saying like
20 remote jobs hiring right now.
Right? So you've seen such things. So those things are not real. So you need to know where to scratch, like the sites where to search. And assuming you search and finally you start the hiring process. I've seen even that's why I'm saying you know where to scratch. I've even seen some Kenyan companies. I mean, some Kenyans are now currently are applying even to work with our company. Now I was asking one guy, like, where did you get it? And then he told me, I got it on Headhunters. And also another one is Indeed. So people are mainly looking at LinkedIn and all that, but also in LinkedIn they're there. So you just need to know where to look for them, for the jobs. And assuming maybe you get referred by somebody maybe who is working, which also I've realized people are really gatekeeping around remote jobs. People don't want to share, like, maybe I have an opportunity and I know it could work for you, and people literally don't share. But if you find somebody who could share and then they give you referral, that is also another way to get the job. But things that you need to look out for when it comes to remote job. Any remote job, whether it is freelance or it's a contract based on what, there's a contract that you're supposed to sign. So if somebody tells, give me your bank details, or give me your M-Pesa number, or give me whatever, without signing any contract, there's a contract. Also do your due diligence. Go to reviewing sites. There's this one called
Glassdoor.
Glassdoor. Go and check, like, is this company really exist? And if it does, what does the former employees have to say about it? Do your research. Another thing is that really get to, just be cautious about everything. And most remote jobs have various stages of hiring. Some can hire you and train you first before you get to sign the contract. And based on how you perform during the training process, that is when you get to sign your contract. And you start working. Some of them hire you first, like you sign the contract, and then they take you through the training later. But it has to be vigorous. It is really a vigorous training. But the thing is, you are not required to pay for anything. It's like even here in Kenya, to normalize kutoa chai so much that somebody says, just give me 10K, kitu kidogo. But there's no kitu kidogo. Just show up, just have your resume ready if you are referred by somebody, and do the training and just show that you can deliver. Another thing about a remote job, or maybe having worked with people from UK, Europe, Asia, and all that, they mainly hire based on what you can do, on your competency. It's not like I have masters, I have PhD, or I'm having a high school diploma or whatever. Nobody cares unless now you're being, even if you're being you're being recruited for a high job, maybe not an
senior role,
more advanced in that particular area. Of course, they look at your experience. But if you want to start from entry level, like from where I started from, it's like, can you do this? Yes, here, do it.
Wow.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah, okay. Now I want us to talk about growth. And you've mentioned that you're not where you were when you started. So having been with the same company or in different companies, you have grown. I'm just wondering, how easy is it for you to grow in a remote work setup? It is a place that you have never met your supervisor face to face. You and your supervisor only knows your profile picture, maybe, or you guys just talk on Zoom. Maybe sometimes you're in your pajamas, putting on and off your camera. So they really don't know you as much. Like you're saying, they only know what Winnie can do, what she cannot do. How do you stay visible? Unawezaje kuwa kimbelembele huko uonekane? How do you stay visible and get those promotions? And how easy is it to get promoted in a remote work setup?
Based on my experience and what I've seen so far, it's all about your performance. It's all about the quality of work you put in. And that also, before I answer that, you remember when I said that it depends on what you're doing? If I'm a freelancer, I come in, you're giving me a project and that is it. I'm not inside the company's operations. Like you want to outsource some work, maybe you're hiring and then you're looking for a recruiter, so now you outsource that one, I do it for you for that duration that you need people to be hired, and then after that I'm gone, maybe you're looking for somebody else. That's a different scenario. But if you're employed by a company like myself, some of the things that are considered when it comes to promotion is the output, is your productivity, is the quality of your work. I said number one is discipline. Sometimes you can be the best and the smartest person around or in the team, but if we cannot rely on you, if we cannot depend on you, then we'll pass. We'll know Nelly got the brains, Nelly does a good job, but she is not the type that we can depend on. She's not the type that we can rely on. Tomorrow we might have an emergency and she can just decide to go MIA. Remember I said it's virtual. We don't know where you are. Somebody's in Belgrade or is in UK or London, and you're here in Nairobi. We don't even know where you're staying. But we trust and hope that tomorrow you'll show up. And
we pray that tomorrow you'll show up.
That tomorrow you'll show up. So those are some of the things that we consider. It's discipline. Do you do your tasks on time? Do you have excuses not to do your job? Do you show up when you're needed? You get what I'm saying? So those are some of the things that you are considered when it comes to promotion. Another thing is about you also mentioned about your employer only knows your profile picture. No, we do meet.
Okay, physically.
Not physically. No, not physically, but we do meet on Zoom, Google Meets, and we story. And sometimes you get a point that now you get close and even talk about personal lives, like, oh, I have a small baby, like I'm going for maternity. Like we just converse like normal people. You get what I'm saying? In as much as we don't know where, but we know each other that much that you feel like they know me, I know them.
I know them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how safe are these remote job contracts? Because well, I understand that you meet on Zoom and on all those platforms, and you talk and you try to work together. But again, because I do not know you, it is different when we meet every day. I know you. I'll call you into my office and I'll point it out right, and I'll just tell you XYZ. But building trust in a remote work setup, it can take some time, and any slight mistake, if you do it, it can lead to repercussions. So I tend to think from where I sit that losing a remote job can be very easy.
Is not losing on-site job not very easy?
Sometimes when somebody talks to you on a one-on-one, you can elewa and say, anyway, this girl is saying the truth. But, in a remote work setup where you don't see each other in a long time, or you don't see each other completely. I mean, anyway, what is the security of these contracts looking like?
It depends on the type of contract that you have. There's some contract, and that's why I'm saying that before you start working with this role, with these remote companies, you need to sign a contract, and you really need to read those contracts, especially that clause of contract termination.
Yeah,
everything is stipulated there. So if, for example, you're a freelancer, it could say something like, okay, you or I can terminate the contract at will as long as you provide us with 2 weeks notice. Or maybe 1 month notice or 3 months notice. So that means, if, for example, my company decides to let me go, and my contract was saying 3 months termination notice, then they have to give me that warning that really you're now serving on probation. After which, but let me tell you something. Even before they decide to terminate you, there must be some reason leading to that. So it could be that the market is suffering because in market, we have various markets. We have Europe market, Asian market, or whatever markets, and now we want to downsize. So it could be that the market is suffering and something that you've known. So they can tell you, no, guys, we're going to close this market in 3 months' time. So psychologically, you're prepared that it is going to close. So many things can happen. You can apply to the other markets, so the company can just offer you opportunities within other markets. But just talking about, let me just talk about the fact that maybe it's just one market, like your company is just operating in one market, right? So the logistics around contract termination. So if they decide to terminate maybe my work has not been good, I've not been productive or whatever, they will call me first of all, tell me, Winnie, we've seen that your performance is not really as it used to be. What's up? And I'll get to explain myself. And that serves as a warning. If it continues, then you are going to do something called probation, which is still stipulated in the contract. Like maybe you can serve 1 month probation, and if that does not really work out, and then they can now terminate your contract with 3 months notice or 1 month's notice or 2 months notice, depending on what was written in the contract. So I find sometimes it's even safer than the on-site job, because I've also had scenarios where you go to work and in the evening you come back with the termination letter without even a notice, right? So in this case, read and understand what does your contract says. And most of the time, they try to adhere to that. So if it is like 2 weeks notice, then I cannot wake up today and find like, okay, Winnie, you no longer work, your accesses are not working, you cannot log into the company, platforms and all that. They will call you that day that decide we are going to terminate her contract and tell you know what, because of ABCD, we are no longer going to work with you. So in the next 2 weeks, just wrap up, or if you had any ongoing projects or some tasks that are pending, make sure you finish them before then. Or if the company is closing, or maybe they decide that they are not going to have you for the next 3 months, they will pay you salary for those 3 months that you're supposed to work. So that, if it has to happen right now, but in most cases, no. Safety is also depending on what you're doing. Some jobs can just go like that. There's no contract, it's just like contract basis. You're a freelance, you work per hour. That means if you work today from 9 to 5, I'll pay you 9 to 5 in the morning. So tomorrow, if I tell you I don't need your service anymore, I've paid you. It's hourly rate. So you provide the service, I give you the money. So that means no strings attached. You work, I give you money, and you go. No benefits, no nothing.
Wow. Today, if someone tells you they want to leave their 9 to 5 permanent job, well paying with the benefits to go to a remote work, what would you tell them?
Do your research, darling. Yes, know what you're getting into.
Stop romanticizing remote work.
Romanticizing. I mean, there are also some good sides of it, but just as I say, do your research. Let's just also get to the reality. People say, oh, you know what? She's working remotely.
Yeah.
That girl in a month, she's earning like $500,000, you know, in a month. Go sit down with that girl and ask her, darling, how do you make $500,000? Assuming that is true.
What exactly do you do?
What exactly do you do? You might be surprised that she's doing 6 jobs.
To make that $500,000.
To make that $500,000. You only have one headache to come to Nairobi and do it and do it with one company and get your $500,000. So do your research. And maybe you're in your mid-30s or 40, you have kids, they're running around, you have family and everything. Do you want to add that chaos plus 6 jobs alongside it? Can you and still remain sane?
I can.
So that's what I'm saying, do your research. And most companies remotely, you see, remote job has thrived just after COVID. It tells you that most companies that are embracing 100% remote, remote work and employing people remotely from wherever are startups. You know what I'm saying? Most of them are startups. And if you find like more established companies that were existing before that, they will only outsource certain roles, but not entire operations. And that means they can only give you what they can give you. You get what I'm saying? But most of the startups, most of the companies that are 100% remote and are really looking for people are startups. So maybe there's a certain salary that you want and you might not get. And you're fixed like, I have to get this job. And they can't hire you, they can't give you that money. You know, and also there's another thing called cost of living, where you are operating from. I'm operating from Nairobi. You can't compare my cost of living with somebody who's operating from UK. Or
so you're paid, you can be paid differently for the same job.
You can be paid differently for the same role, but you can still negotiate for that. But most people don't know that. You can be working for the same company and doing the same job, and you can be paid, differently for the same job. So those are some of the dynamics that you really need to understand. That now the cost of operation. Another thing is that, as I mentioned, maybe this company will not give you the figure you want, but you can still make that figure. So other options that you have is like looking for other jobs. So I can be working in UK markets. I work like normal 8 to 5, like someone working in Nairobi. And when it reaches 5, I do another job. And on weekend, I also do another job.
At what time do you rest?
I rest when I sleep. I lay my back on the bed. That's when I sleep. I mean, tutalala kaburinis. That's what they say. We'll sleep forever. So, and also you are in your 30s. So what do you want to do in your 30s? You want to rest in your 30s. What will you do in your 50s? Another day. Right? So you it's like hapa na hapa ujaza kibaba or whatever. So you have to collect those cash, and then at the end of the month I have my 500 $500,000 here. But like if you just go for one company and you're like, okay, this company is paying me this, and I have to get this offer for me to leave my job, you might look forever.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's why I say do your research and get the facts.
And know what you're getting into.
Yes.
Wow. So we want to talk about mental health and mental wellness. Remote work puts you in your own space. You know, doors closed. Maybe sometimes you're having meeting, you're having to put on your ring lights and all that. How has this affected your mental health, if it has in any way? Having to sit maybe long hours working on projects. Sometimes I talk with remote workers and they say they're having to work even at night and all that, 13 hours, more than that. So talk to us about that.
You can easily become workaholic without knowing you're doing that.
Yeah.
Remember, with remote job, my work is at my fingertips. Not like social media. So my workspace and everything, iko hapa.
Yeah.
So I could be in a grocery and ding, that's my Slack, somebody has tagged me and it's my day off, I can easily do that. So you are you're surrounded with, kazi yako ni wewe.
You can always work.
Exactly, you can always.
Anywhere when you're working.
You can always work. So you need to regulate yourself. And number 2, you need to also have a community. Something that I also learned very late, actually last year, that you need to have a community, like your venting point. Because remember, you don't go to work. I'm not like you. You have colleagues. You utatoka kwa nyumba ukutane na uochi umsalimie.
On Fridays we go out with my colleagues.
With your colleagues, you know. And when you ukifika job, there are those times that it's just office kind of banters and all that. You know, you can laugh.
Of
and
course.
Then you're walking alone. You're going to take matatu, or maybe everybody going to the parking lot. Like there's that connection and interaction with other people other than your family, immediate family members. But with online job, when I started doing it, it was me inside my office 24/7, and it reached a point that I could just wake up and I realized that I'm late. It's 8:40 something. So before I do anything, I grab my laptop and check what has been happening, what job did I leave pending, has somebody tagged me, what are some of the urgent pending matters I address before I even take breakfast. And then you realize that you'll sit there up to maybe around 11 or 12, you've not taken breakfast. So you realize that you are inside work, and it's night, as you said, and your phone is here. I'm sleeping in Nairobi, but remember in Latin America, somewhere Brazil or Colombia or in Argentina, they are very much awake. Actually, it's around midday, and mine, it's around my 9 p.m. And they're still tagging me. They need me to give me some access and all that. It's so easy for me to do that. So number one, prioritize. When I wake up, maybe I wake up at 7. I play with my kids maybe up to, if they're awake, we can play up to around maybe 7:30, I mean exactly 8. 8, I shower and then take breakfast at 9 exactly. It means I'm starting my work. And then I take my lunch break like any other person. I take my lunch break. And then if you 5 exactly, if I'm just, I log out, or 6, I'm done with everything. That is ideal scenario, but sometimes it does not work like that. So after closing yourself inside the room like the whole day, it's important to make walks. So prioritize. Do you want to make evening walks or morning walks? Take walks. In the evening or weekends when you're not working, or your day offs, because most companies will tell you, you know what, we are operating 24/7, but you only work 5 days a week. So make sure that those are 2 off days, do something with them. Are you going out with your friends? Do you go to church? Do you do some other stuff that are not work related? And just make sure that you do what can work for you. And to me, I think it has really worked well for me because I'm an introvert. I just love my own space and kujifunga huko. Yeah. So and I don't mind sitting in the house for so long, but there are some people that one can drive them crazy. But even if you're an introvert like myself, I so much love sitting in the house that I can cancel everything and just tell, you know what, I'm not feeling well, but the thought of coming to Nairobi or just getting outside is just giving me headache. So that works for me because that is the person I am. But there's some people that does not work. But even if you're like me, you need time to take walks. You need time to run or just go out and get outside your room or wherever it is, and also have a community. Away from your family, have a community, like you can have colleagues. Also be intentional about creating friendship. Imagine, tell me, where can you make friends?
When you go out and meet people.
Go where?
In places like church, maybe.
Maybe you don't go to church.
Okay, now you love to go.
Now you have to go, right? So that's why you also need to be intentional about your social life. Like have friends, go out, be intentional about that, because
creating that community.
Yeah, because maybe you can work in this company for like 2 years. You have like 2 or 3 friends, and then the next one 2 or 3. So at the end of the day, you have like a community, like friends like can. But me, I realized that if you're not so intentional about your friendship with other people, like that, your social life, then you'll realize that it's me, my kids, my husband, and my immediate family, and that is it.
Wow.
And you'll end up very lonely. So you need to be very intentional about that.
Yeah. Wow, very interesting. I wouldn't want to end it, but we're almost coming to the end. Of course, before then, I would want you to summarize for us the key lessons you have learned as a remote worker that you would not want anyone who's aspiring to work remotely to miss out on.
Number 1 is trust your craft and always do something to make you better, like to improve on. As I said, most of these remote jobs are not based on your CV. You see those, I got an A in KCSE, I have first class honors. They don't care about such. Can you do the work? And so if you say that I'm a programmer, or I'm a data scientist, or I'm doing this, make sure you're so good at that if you're told to write for us this code. Remember what Elon Musk said when they were hiring, they said that just send me a sample of your, what was it?
Of your work.
It was not like give me your CV, your background, or like having masters.
They want a portfolio and all that.
They don't care about such. If just show us what you can do. and make sure that you're good at it. Number 2, it's discipline. If you think you can joke around this on-site job and think that online work will work for you.
Can maling around with your boss.
And play hide and seek with your boss
every other time.
And you think you can just open your Slack or Teams and binge and Netflix as you rave behind the scenes, it will catch up with you. So discipline is key. It is very, very, very key. And number 3, you need to be somebody that can be dependent on. Can you show up? Can we trust you? As I said, my boss lives in Belgrade, and another one is in UK, another one in Moscow. But they trust me, or when there's an inquiry, to give guidance or to answer to that. They're not seeing me. They know where I am. They don't even know where there's flood in Kenya. But they pray that Winnie will
show up tomorrow.
Will you show up? Yeah. So those are some of the things that I would want to say. And I would also want to say that anybody can do a remote job. As I've mentioned earlier, it doesn't really matter whether you have high school certificate or degree or what that. Most of these companies offer training.
So it's not just preserved for the cool kids in Kilimani and all that?
Oh, no.
So anyone can work remotely?
Anyone can do it. Anyone can do it as long as you're determined and know what you're looking for. And if you're fortunate enough to get the opportunity, most of these companies provide training. Especially for the entry-level jobs, you will be given training. And you need to be flexible. You need to be willing to learn. And you need to be, as I said, most of these companies are startups. Things change. Today we thought like we're going north, and when you wake up in the morning, you're going for a meeting, and there's no bureaucracy. There is no bureaucracy. Somebody brings an idea. Winnie, what do you think? Can we try this market? Okay, I think we can do X, Y, Z. Okay, we are going to try it for the next 2 weeks. And if it doesn't work, it's left at that. And we keep on trying until we find something that works. So things are moving very fast. So you need to be very ready to adapt. You need to be ready to adapt and flexible, and you need to be teachable and take in corrections as positive as you could, because it's not like a mindset that I was taught I need to do it angle theta, but if it does not cross theta, that does not work. No, there's no theta there. Can we try theta? Is it working or not? No. We leave that one aside. Let's get a cute angle or any other something else. So you need to be very much open to work. You need to be flexible, and you need to be disciplined, and you just need to put in the work, because they don't just see the profile picture. You are working. There's an output. So they're seeing the output that, what you're putting in, garbage in, garbage out. So it's not just the profile picture, and it is your output or your productivity that will promotions and all that. We will not go look for a team leader outside the team. We'll look for a team leader within the team. Like, how has the performance been? Some of the things that I mentioned earlier. And we'll decide or land on somebody based on merits, not like whether they're black or white and all that. I've never experienced such though, but it's about your productivity, your output.
What is one big myth, the biggest myth about remote work that you would like to debunk before we close?
There's money in remote work. Yes.
Is it a myth?
As I said, there's money, but there's something to give for that money.
Okay.
If you're
so that money doesn't just come.
That money doesn't just come in like that, Nelly. It doesn't. It's just like on-site job. There's money everywhere, actually. There's money everywhere. You can't be employed working from, the traditional 8 to 4, 4 to 5, 8 to 4, or 8 to 5 or 6, but you still have some other side hustles around. Hapa unauza mboga, pale kuna pikipiki, huku nyuma kuna liquor store, and the other side uko na salon and all that, right? At the end of the day, you collect your coins and they make something. So the same way, or you can just be lucky enough to get a good company that is paying you that fortune, right? But how many people are that lucky? It's a couple, right? Just a handful. So the same thing also happens with the remote work. So I can decide just to work for, or even you can just decide, okay, maybe my e-company, I'm going to Kenya, they're going to be 150K, and that's enough for me. I'm just going to be a good girl, wake up, go to work, come back home, get my salary and sit and sit like this, right? Loyal to my employer when they need me, I show up, right? Or you can decide to be that good girl, but on the side you're doing other things, right? So the same thing happens with the remote job. I could be employed by a company like myself. I'm fortunate enough to be employed by this company, but I can still do other things. I can still look for freelance or like on US market. So maybe from my 9 to 5, I'm doing my job, and ikifika 6 or 1 or 7 p.m., I'm also on another market and doing all that. And at the same time, I'm doing some freelance here and there, some contract based. I'm maybe just working on some project for another company, maybe doing some design work or maybe some transcription or whatever it is that I'm doing for them. So eventually, I collect my money and have it all. There's no money online. This money when you work hard, darling. So there's no money somewhere. So just
that
to
comes.
work,
there's no free money.
There's no free one.
Yeah.
So if you have to work for your money, and it's not easy because. In as much as we don't rush at I don't feel that cold every morning. But when I sit down, I grind just like any other person.
So there's no privilege, like because there's a perception that remote workers are much more privileged than.
Privilege in terms of what?
I don't know, because maybe they are not having to make queues or pangi laini of our sharing.
Yeah, those are privileged. I don't buy lunch.
Yeah.
You know, my operational cost is
lala wa mke 9:30 na waanze job 9:45.
Bila brush at meno. Yeah, those are privileges. Those are true nails.
But they come at a cost.
They come at a cost. Number one, I've mentioned about loneliness. Number two, you know, you don't have that social capital. But let's talk about money, because that money is a thing here, right? That money is there, but you have to work for that money. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because even for you to be paid, for example, maybe $500,000 or 200 or 300K and above, that means you are maybe in a mid-senior or senior role. And that comes with the weight. For example, if my company approaches me today, we want to open a market in Africa. We want to explore a market in Africa. And we want you to be the business owner or the person in charge of the region. Do you know what that means for me? Number one, this market has to work. And I have to start putting it together from scratch. I have to start with maybe salespeople. I have to look for operations people. I have to look for maybe I have to gather everything.
And put it together.
And if it fails, it is going to be on me.
On you,
it doesn't matter whether you're paying me $500,000. So I have to make sure that everything is running, and I have to be in all the charts. I have to be in the hiring, recruitment, and I have to all these structures are put together. Do you think I'm sleeping? Because number one, it's also a weight that is put on me. That is assuming I'm just working for this particular company. Or I'm working for 3 different companies. I'm working here, I'm doing this, and kidogo, I'm seeing the other role or the other company is tagging me for another work that is so urgent. What am I going to do? I'm going to leave this one pending. You see the disorientation. Like I was focused, I was locked. So
you're always having to put your hands, leave this.
Yes, and when your mind is always jumping, especially when you're doing like 2 or 3 jobs at the same time, your mind is always jumping. Oh, I was supposed to tag so I was supposed to send this here and here. So number one, you also need to structure your time so well. That from this time to this time, I'm going to do ABCD. From this time to this time, I'm going to do ABCD. From this time to this. And some of them requires also meetings. So you need to also have meetings. And some of them are training people, coaching people, meeting with people. And it's just something else that we need also to talk about, even the cultural differences. How somebody can find you so straight. Like the other day I was talking to my person, like, Winnie, you know what? I love the fact that you're so straight, but sometimes you're too straight. Like
you're too black and white.
You're too black and white. Like you don't,
So there are those cultural variations.
Yes, and you realize some people want you to, and also sometimes when you're that too straight, it comes out to other people as arrogance or being rude, and it does not augur well with everybody. So you need also to read those social dynamics and find your way. Like today, I'm working with Asians. And tomorrow you're working with people from maybe from Europe, and even Europe people are different. People from Italians are so sweet, and then there are people from Turkey. Maybe whether they're in Europe or in the Middle East, they're also a different breed of people that you also just need to know how to deal with. And then maybe tomorrow you're meeting with Americans, and then the other day. So you need to understand the cultural dynamics, how even a small matter, a client can threaten to sue the company over something very small. And some people are so
in your perspective, in your eyes, it's very small.
Something very small. And the way they're going to come back, or maybe this time I was working as a recruiter, and we didn't get to hire, to hire the person. I was working as a trainer, And the person said, no, I knew I did well, and I'm going to sue you. My uncle is working with water embassies and
you wasted my time.
You wasted my time. And she was really sending threats and leaving bad reviews and comments on Glassdoors and all that. So for a moment, it'll make you feel like, did I do something wrong as the person who delivered the message out? So even go back to your rejection letter, rejection message, like, what did I say to trigger this? So you also need to know all those cultural dynamics and understand when I need to be straight, when I need to be, gullible and be sweet in as much as you're not sweet. So those are also some of the dynamics that are there. But remote job is good. It comes with the freedom. For example, I can decide to take my entire family and go to Mombasa and work from there, or go to Shago, as long as there's steam and there's internet.
Yeah.
But in terms of me not working, it's just like any other job. I have to apply for my leave days, and I need to inform my employer, like, maybe a month or months prior, if it's a vacation, that in March or in November, I'll be going for my vacation from this date to this date. But I cannot just wake up today and decide that I'm going for vacation. Hey, next week I'm not there, like today is Saturday, right? Or from Monday to Friday I'm going for vacation, I'm not going to be there. It doesn't work like that. But I can carry my job together with my family and my everything and go to vacation in Mombasa or go to wherever, or
and work while you're there.
Or even Dubai right now and work while I'm there. And I don't need to inform my boss that I'm on vacation.
As long as you're working.
I'm working.
And you're not in vacation because you're working. You've just changed locations.
Yeah, I've just changed locations. Right? So that myth of like you can do whatever you want, you can freestyle around it is not really there. Unless you're a freelancer, as I said, that maybe the project is over, you're paying me per hour, so I work for 5 hours. If tomorrow I'm not going to work for 5 hours, but even with that, there must be some consistency. Because if I depend on you to work for me every single hour for the next 5 months, but you only want to work when you feel like, but maybe I have some targets that I need to. There's some KPIs that are involved in whatever it is that I'm going to do. So if you want to work when you feel like, then it means I'm not going to reach my target and realize my KPIs, and then I will as well discard you.
Wow.
Yes.
This is a conversation that we can have over and over, but I would like to bring it to a close unless you have a parting shot. I think it's been quite interesting just learning that while there is money outside there is money online, but it's not free money. You're going to have to grind. You're going to have to put in the work. And I like how you have demystified, or you have actually shed light around these myths of I can do anything, I can say I'm not coming when I want. I like the way you brought in the aspect of structures, discipline, consistency, treating it like any other work, because even me, I don't believe anyone can give you money for free, by the way. You have to work. So if you're looking for remote work, you have gotten your truth. You've gotten your questions answered. We'll be happy to hear some of the questions that you still have. And if you still want us to have this conversation, then why not? We will always, again, like to be here, answer your questions, and ensure that you get as much information as possible to help you make an informed decision. So thank you so much for watching. And guys, if you've not subscribed to this channel, please just drop everything else that you're doing and subscribe. Share this content with your friends, and let's be part of this community where we're all about learning to create those workplaces where we thrive and not survive, and of course to build those rewarding and fulfilling careers. So thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.